Dolls from a Small World. I think many will agree that this is a very strange and frightening slide. Little dolls have always inspired terror in my heart. And singing little dolls are generally a nightmare. So, according to legend, dolls from the Little World attraction come to life when no one sees them and change places. How did we find out about this? Park workers began to notice the change of their positions. They also say that after the end of the slide, the dolls continue to sing, and therefore many refuse to work there and bypass this attraction. Author Ridley Pearson became one of the people claiming that he saw the dolls move by themselves. He witnessed this during an exclusive backstage tour after the park closed for the night. The ghost of Walt Disney lives in California Disneyland. Walt Disney opened the first park in 1955, and he adored it. The word adore is not even strong enough to describe his attachment to this place. He practically did not leave the park until his death in 1966 and often lived on its territory. His apartment was on the main street above the fire station, and if he was at home, he always lit a lamp on the window, thereby welcoming all his guests. After his death, the lamp was extinguished forever. It is rumored that sometimes the lamp lights up on its own for a short time. Maybe Walt is coming to visit his favorite place on Earth? The legend of the ghost of the Cosmic Mountain. They say that the ghost of a red-haired man who once died there lives on the Cosmic Mountain slide. This man, who was jokingly called Mr. One-Way Ticket, died in the 1970s and now sits next to those who ride alone, and after the end of the trip simply disappears. Many guests of this attraction felt someone's presence in an empty place, but did not feel any threat at the same time. Now I'm going to show you footage of the supposedly the same ghost. Check it out. Real skeletons. According to this legend, there are real human bones on the territory of the park, namely on a slide themed Pirates of the Caribbean. It is said that this was the demand of Walt Disney himself, because in this way he wanted the adventure to become more real. Many are sure that among the bones there are bones of Walt himself. So, I hasten to please or disappoint you, but this legend is partially true. When the slide was first opened in 1967, a year after Disney's death, the fake bones looked very unnatural, and it was decided to use the real one. Disney has never seen the result of this work, but his will was fulfilled, and real skeletons appeared in the park. Over time, real skeletons were replaced by fakes, but not because it is more ethical, but because fakes have become much more convincing. There's only one real skull in the Disney World in Florida these days, and it's above the pirate's chest. Sacrifice. This story appeared on Reddit 7 years ago, and it still makes me sick. One of the users shared his experience of working in the Magic Kingdom. He wished to remain anonymous, as he told unpleasant details of the park's life. The author wrote that 99% of the work in the park begins after the end of the show. He worked as a construction worker in the Seven Dwarfs section and often stayed late and even stayed on the premises overnight. One day at 3 o'clock in the morning he went to the main building for a snack and witnessed something like a sacrifice. The hero of the show gathered around Snow White, who was sobbing and screaming. The guy noticed that a month was carved on the heroine's forehead, and after that he fled in horror. The next day, he told about the incident to his colleague, who had worked in the park for more than 40 years, and he admitted that such bloody rites are often held in the Disney World as payment for the success of the business. He asked the employee never to tell anyone about this, as the owners of the park are very influential and dangerous people. Immediately after this conversation, our hero quit, and I understand him perfectly. Tower of Horrors. In the 2017 year, the Disney studio closed the Tower of Horrors. But what happened to the ghost that lived on the Bell Hull platform? It is said that this is the ghost of an employee who once worked on the platform and died during his shift. There are 4 elevators in the castle: Alpha, Bravo, Charlie and Delta. The tragedy occurred when an employee helped guests to get on the attraction, and after that no one saw him close the shift and leave the territory. They say that his ghost lives in the Delta elevator and he was even successfully photographed. Now these rides are being replaced with Marvel-themed rides, and it is unknown what will happen to the ghost. We will continue to monitor the situation. Cryogenics and Disney. This is a very popular urban legend and I can't help but mention it in my rating. I don't understand where all these conversations started from, but many people really believe that Disney was not cremated, as they say in the media, but frozen in a cryochamber to revive in the future when it becomes possible. Disney died of lung cancer in 1966, when he was only 65 years old. They say that the rumors appeared after the statement of the president of the California Cryogenics Association, Bob Nelson, told the LA Times reporters that Walt Disney had talked to him about the possibility of freezing his body after death. After that, Disney's daughter Diana made a public statement and denied all talk of freezing. It's a pity, because it means that Walt will never please us with his work again. Disney controlled the minds of children. Children love Disney cartoons, as they are led by the Illuminati. For many years there has been talk that Disney wanted to turn children into anxious teenagers. The film Aladdin, The Lion King, Roger Rabbit and The Little Mermaid were accused of sexual propaganda. The so-called truth seekers accused Disney of having sexual content and showed evidence, like the word sex written by birds in the sky in the movie about The Lion King. In addition, Ginny forced the children to undress, and in the movie about Roger Rabbit, we were shown the intimate parts of Jessica Rabbit. Disney tried to sexualize children from early childhood, as the Illuminati later planned to make these children sex slaves. In addition, Walt Disney's 33 Club has been accused of pedophilia more than once, but we'll talk about that later. The Riddle of Mowgli's Palace. This is a kind of creepypasta legend, which concerns the abandoned Mowgli attraction. Reddit users Christopher Howard Wolf wrote a post about an illegal visit to a part of a park in Northern California. It is said that an attraction based on the Jungle Book was planned to open in this park, but problems began to appear from the very beginning. At first, the owners of the land did not want to sell it to the park, but after the sale, the project was curtailed for mysterious reasons anyway. The park was closed, the workers were fired and the entire territory was closed. According to legend, an unknown visitor to the park sneaks there at night and sees that everything is expected to be in terrible condition. He goes through all the rooms and comes to the conclusion that the park was not abandoned, but evacuated. He stumbles upon the costumes of the heroes, and they turn out to be alive. More precisely, they were once alive, but now only skeletons remain inside. Our hero escapes from this cursed place, and Mickey Mouse is chasing him. It turned out that this park never existed and it's all fiction. But abandoned Disney parks are not fantastic, and you can get there. But I would not recommend doing this, since the punishment for illegal entry is very severe. The headquarters of the Illuminati. There are many different theories that unite the Illuminati and Walt Disney, since even during his lifetime he was accused of having ties with the Freemasons. They say that the 33 Club, that legendary place in the California park, was the headquarters of the Illuminati, and that terrible things happened there. Initially, the members of this club, where alcohol consumption was allowed, were sponsors, partners of Disney, who received an invitation only from their own. Paul McCartney and Elton John are rumored to be members of this club, and people are sure that occult and suspicious rituals take place behind closed doors.